So I'm just going to give a brief overview of how to install a 6 BTM MSD ignition box. This is going in my 63 Dodge D100 pickup with a 225 slant 6 in it. I'll be installing a turbo, so that's why I needed a BTM. I chose the 6 BTM because I was going to use the Universal Boost Timing Master, or the Universal BTM. That's what I read on most of the forums and other places and recommendations, but MSD is no longer making them, so the next best bet would have been the 6 BTM. You can run it on V8s, 6-cylinders, and 4-cylinder applications. All you have to do is pull this little plug in the side and then cut the appropriate wires. For the 6-cylinder, you only have to cut one wire, and then for the 4-cylinder, you have to cut both. And what that does, it controls your soft touch rev limiter. So I slant 6, red lines are around, maybe 4,200, something like that. And the ones in the kit is either an 8,000, a 6,000, or a 3,000. And the 3,000 RPM rev limiter is a little pointless in my opinion, so I'll be looking around to see if they sell other soft touch rev limiters. Install's fairly simple. I'm actually running mine upside down, easy to tell, because I wasn't going to put it on this side of the motor, because that's this area is kind of going to get filled up with the turbo and piping and stuff, so it's a little messy over there right now. I still am kind of in the process of tightening up most of the wiring, putting like protectors and stuff on it. The only other thing few things you have to do is you got to tap a wire into the positive terminal, or you could run it off the starter relay down there on the positive side so it gets juice. I just chose from the battery because it was a little bit easier to get to, and I mean, it's up to you on what you want to do for wiring. Yeah, I could clip it and then run it down there, but that's kind of like starting to look like a rat's nest. Fun fact for Chrysler guys, if you have an older Chrysler product with, which is actually called a 3-pin relay, solenoid relay, it's going to have your trigger wire from the ignition switch, obviously your master and ground, and then your solenoid, and this wire right here is actually not on it, on that model. And what happens is the 3 pins are about, I want to say $40-50 from O'Reilly's or Napa or something, and this one's only $12. And what you have to do is you just got to run a jumper wire that just grounds it out, and then it acts exactly as a 3-pin. So if you have a Chrysler product with that issue, you can get a really cheap one instead of spending $30. Some other wiring you have to use is you're going to have an ignition trigger wire, which I covered most of mine up with protector. Yeah, I got a little overspray on it, not too bad. I just wrapped this. It has a heat-proof, like waterproof connector in it, and what I did was I tapped the ignition wire that runs from the factory ignition into that, as well as also connected my PerTronix electronic ignition on it, since I converted this from a point system to magnetic pickup. Now that's where I actually ran into an issue with wiring. Is I followed the MSD manual on how to wire it, and it gave me a no fire and no spark situation. And to test for spark, it's really easy. All you got to do is trace this white wire. This is actually a connector, but it's a butt connector that you can pull apart, and you have exposed metal on it. And what you do is you'll pull this wire off the distributor cap, put it toward the ground, and I used the mount right here for the alternator. You hold that, and then with the ignition on, you take the white wire, contact the ground. So I actually used painted metal, and once it you take that off, it'll spark over on the metal surface. So that's how you know if you're getting a spark. and then you can trace your problems from there. Because if you're still getting no spark, even doing that, it's then it's a wiring issue. So with the PerTronix electronic ignition, what you'll do is you'll run this white trigger wire to the black ground, and then the red wire that comes from the MSD, you're going to run that to for the factory ignition switch. And this wire right here is actually, this red wire is the factory ignition switch. Then when it comes to two other wires, you'll have your black wire that's coming from the MSD box. Let's see if I can move these wires around. There you go. I just unplugged one of mine. But if you look at it, black wire goes on that, and then you have your orange lead that goes to the positive side on the coil. There you go. That's on the positive side of the coil, and it actually runs pretty good. And then the nice option that they have is, what you do is you have your other magnetic pickup for other different types of products. Mine wouldn't work with this setup, so it's unused. And then this connector right here is actually for your in-cab adjustability on boost retard. I haven't installed it yet because I don't have a turbo, so it's kind of a little bit of anticipation or overshoot right now. But yep, 225. Converted it to what's called the Super 6 package, so it's running a 2-barrel carb on it. I'll be trying to see if I can convert this one to be a blow-through carburetor. If not, I'm going to go with a Holley 2300. That's pretty much the general consensus of being a decent convertible carburetor to use on blow-through applications. I'm actually going to be mounting my boost gauge as well as the switch and a couple other things. This was actually the old radio where I kept the factory housing and basically put an aluminum plate in. And the sad part is this is actually not the correct radio for this truck. I don't know what kind of Mopar this came out of, but the previous owner pretty much cut open the dash with a can opener and siliconed it in. So other than that, that's where that stuff's going to go. So hopefully this video was helpful in installing its MSD 6 BTM.